Big E.
Yep.
Been a while since we did Ask Merlin Monday.
I know, it's been a very long while actually since we did that. So when you said that to me today, I was like, oh, cool. I've had questions.
So you have something good to talk about?
Yeah, I had an interesting question recently from, I don't remember who it was, but I'm pretty sure that, I think it was on Facebook, but his question was regarding what my thoughts were on overtraining. He wanted to know, do I think that overtraining actually exists, or is it more
A myth?
related to, well, is it a myth, or is it more related to not eating enough or not getting enough rest? You know, because I know a lot of, there's like a sort of an argument, you want to say, out there in the community of maybe coaches or, you know, people that argue whether there really is such thing as overtraining. But I'm going to say right off the bat, I 100% believe in overtraining. Putting aside, of course, there are a lot of cases where people, you know, they're training the right amount, they're training hard, and they aren't eating enough, and or they're not sleeping enough, and of course that's going to cause problems. But let's put that aside and just pretend, you know, coming from a person who is getting enough sleep and who is eating a good diet with enough calories, is it still possible to overtrain? Absolutely, it's possible to overtrain. I mean, I love to use the comparison to nailing, you know, a nail into a board. You know, if your job is you want to nail a nail into a board and you want to get it flush in the board, and you hit the nail 3 times, it's flush in the board, the job is done. If you just keep hitting the nail over and over again, all you're doing is damaging the board. And that's how I feel like it is with training. I feel that there is sort of a sweet spot for everybody, and it's going to vary. It's going to vary from person to person because we all are born, you know, part of our genetic ability when it comes to bodybuilding is our recovery ability. Some people don't recover as fast as others, with all things being equal. But I still think there's a sweet spot for everybody you have to discover. So in other words, when you're in the gym, you're training hard, and of course I believe in training hard. You know, you should be going into the gym, and this is for people who are a little bit more advanced. In the beginning, things are a little different, but you know, if you're an advanced lifter or even an intermediate lifter, you got to push yourself. I believe in taking, you know, most sets to failure, sometimes beyond failure. I believe in, you know, using techniques that you guys might see me use on the show, like, you know, eccentric emphasis or stretch pause or contracted emphasis, those types of things that, you know, will push the muscle further. But you have to know when to stop. Now, I think there are a couple of good signs during workouts that will tell you when your body will be telling you that maybe enough is enough. If your strength levels start to dip all of a sudden real quickly, that's a sign pretty much that your body's had enough. Or if you have a really good pump throughout the workout and then you keep training and that pump kind of disappears and you're not getting pumped anymore, that's also your body telling you it's had enough. I think that I see some coaches out there that they do so much volume with their clients. And again, I'm not even going to differentiate between a natural person and a person who's taking PEDs, because even if you're on PEDs, you can overtrain. Of course, it's going to help a lot with recoverability, but I don't understand why coaches want to push their athletes so far that they're, you know, vomiting during their workouts, or they're laying on the floor for 20 minutes at the end of the workout shaking and shivering, they can't even get on their feet. To me, that's just overkill. To me, you are now taking away from recovery ability that you need to grow, because if you do not recover from your workouts, you're not growing. I don't care how hard you're training, if you don't recover from workout to workout, you're not going to grow. So I think sometimes coaches just want to be known as being the most intense, you know, the most hardcore coaches out there. Yeah, I make my clients vomit, you know, I'm just nobody transformed. But I don't think that's smart. I think that you're actually doing a disservice to yourself if you're overtraining, or to your clients. Because, like I said, if you can't recover from those workouts, then you're not going to progress. It's when we're home and we're resting and we're eating and we're sleeping that we're going to, you know, build new muscle tissue. And I think that if you push it too far, you're not going to be able to do that. There's actually something called rhabdomyolysis, which is a phenomenon that happens where you can push the muscle so far that they're injured to such a degree that the contents of the muscle sort of start leaking into the bloodstream, and that goes to the kidneys, causes all kinds of problems, the worst of which could be death. Now, of course, that's not a common phenomenon, but it just goes to show you that you can push too far. This happens to marathon runners sometimes, I think, from just having the muscles contracting for 26 miles. So, again, another good comparison, alcohol. I don't drink, but for people out there who drink, very simple comparison. You want to go out on a Saturday night, you want to have a few drinks with the goal of, feeling a little more relaxed. You want to get a buzz, you want to enjoy your evening, and that's perfectly fine. But what happens when you drink way too much? When you drink way too much, then you go from feeling good to feeling like shit. You go, you could be vomiting with the rest of the night. You wake up the next day after sleeping God knows how long with a huge hangover, you have a headache, the whole day is ruined. Why is that? Because you've had too much of a good thing. So now what you've done is slightly poisoned your body. Your body's trying to filter it out, and now it's taking so long to filter it out, you feel like shit. So training, again, the same thing, too much of a good thing. So, and I don't believe that you can overtrain on a chronic basis and eat enough food or sleep enough to take care of it. Like, what are you going to do? Sleep 15 hours a day every day to try to recover from these ridiculous workouts? No. So if every once in a blue moon you want to go into the gym, you want to double your volume, you want to do some kind of crazy workout to challenge yourself a little bit more, or just to do something different, that's fine. But on a chronic, constant basis, I think all you're going to be doing is causing, first of all, you can overtrain your muscles. You overtrain your muscles too much, that's when you start getting pulls, tears, strains. Overtrain the central nervous system, then you can have symptoms like depression, can't sleep at night, loss of appetite, loss of sex drive, rapid heartbeat, even while resting, whole myriad of problems. And if you're having them, please address it. So again, just to finish this up, I totally believe in overtraining. I think that it's a dangerous thing to do, or it's just going to rob you of your gains. So that's my take on overtraining, and I hope that helps anybody out there who had that question.
Awesome. All right, so what do you think is, for someone who's just started working out, but even someone a little bit more advanced, what do you think are the most important variables of a gym as far as making progress? So what I mean is, like, do you think it's the atmosphere? Do you think it's the machine? Do you think it's the people around you? Like, what would you say is the best environment to be in to make progress?
Well, that's an interesting question. That's a very
Because people will ask, when they first started, like, well, what kind of gym should I choose? You know what I mean? Where should they go? And I'm asking that because we're very spoiled in Vegas. All those, we talk about it all the time. We have all those new gyms that keep opening left and right, and so you still have the big chains like LVAC, Planet Fitness, 24 Hour Fitness, like all those. Where a lot of people go, I'm not sure it's the best place to go for motivation, though. You know what I mean? So, if you want to make good progress and you want to, make progress as fast as possible, what would your advice be as far as picking the best place to go?
It's a really good question that I would say would kind of have a multi-dimensional answer. I think that first and foremost, you should be going to a gym that has a good atmosphere. And what do I mean by good atmosphere? Good atmosphere in terms of, if you're a serious individual, you really want to make gains, you're not going to the gym to be a social club. If you're there serious, you should be in a gym where there are other serious people, because you could tell the difference right away. You can go to certain gyms and you could see, everybody's texting on their phone in between sets, everybody's hitting on each other, everybody's, they're joking around. There's just so much nonsense going on. And that's obviously not a serious gym, And maybe it's good for the people who are there because they don't really care that much. They're kind of going there to almost just have fun and meet people and whatever. It's a social place, and there are gyms that are like that. Yeah. And it's funny because sometimes you'll see a serious lifter go to a place like that, and you can see the frustration on their face when they're trying to get to a machine, you know, like how many sets do you have left? And then the guy will be like, oh, you know, I got 4 more sets left. And then in between sets, he's texting on his phone, he's making phone calls, and you're like, how long do I got to wait for this thing? So I think if you're a serious, and based on your question, you're talking about people who want to make gains. So first of all, make sure that you're going to a gym where like-minded people are there. You know, that people, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be bodybuilders. It could be, you know, it could be athletes. It could be just general people who really, really want to get in really good shape. They're serious about it. It can have some power lifters. It can have, you know, men, women. It doesn't matter. Just as long as the atmosphere is serious and people are going there, you know, to make progress. Also, I think it should be a place that's supportive, where you and I, Dave, we've always trained in places that the other members are very supportive of each other, and that's a great place. Like, you'll see somebody getting ready for a competition, everybody's always cheering that person on, or you look great, or help them, you know, push harder, or, you know, whatever it is, oh man, you're looking really good, you know, that kind of stuff. Just where everybody's trying to lift each other up, because I think that sometimes you go to places where people are more like jealous or envious, or, you know, they just like, they're haters. Yeah. You know, they find the worst in a person rather than looking for the best. They're not supportive. They're just picking on each other, or like, you know, talking behind each other's back. And, you know, that's just a crappy atmosphere to be in. Yeah. You know, you just want good, supportive people around you. And sometimes it's even the hours per day. Like, there's really good crowds, you know, at certain times where like a whole group of really, really good people come together, and that's just the best time. And then maybe another time of day, you might find that it's not a great crowd, not the same kind of crowd. So, you know, that's a little bit of a variable you might find gym to gym. Now, let's also talk about the equipment, because, you know, obviously you want to go to a gym that has good equipment, but, you know, you can make gains in a gym that just has the most basic of equipment, as long as the equipment feels good to you, as long as it's well kept, not falling apart. But it does not necessarily have to be a gym that has every single one of the latest lines of equipment, the most fancy stuff, the stuff that looks like it just, like, you know, came out of a science fiction movie that you have to try to figure out what it is. Because, you know, look, back in the day, you know, back in the 70s, 80s, before any crazy equipment was out there, I mean, look what the guys look like. They're incredible because they trained hard and they trained on, you know, just basic equipment. So the gym should have the equipment that you need, you know, to train each body part. You know, a decent variety, you know, plenty of dumbbells, barbells, and benches and things that you need. But it doesn't have to be the most fancy, newfangled gym in the world. But again, you don't want to go to a place that's a dump, that's falling apart, where the pulleys are fraying and the machines feel uneven, because, you know, you find those places too, and you don't want to be in a place like that. Yeah. So, I mean, I think that overall, when you're looking for, you know, a place to train, I think atmosphere, to me, trumps anything. Yeah. I think that a good atmosphere...
That should be number one.
I think that atmosphere is number one. I think, you know, equipment, you know, is number two. I mean, I think you might even want to, listen, you also want to think about things about drive time and stuff like that. You know, you don't want to have to drive an hour back and forth from the gym. That takes a lot of time out of your day, especially when you get home and you want to eat your meal and stuff like that. But I mean, I think that pretty much is what covers it. Like you said, in Vegas, we have a lot of different types of gyms that all have their own atmospheres and their own feels, and and a lot of different equipment. And if you have the opportunity, if you do have the opportunity to train at more than one place, that's a great thing to do too, because you might find, you know, you feel like training at a certain gym one day, you feel like training at a different gym another day because of different atmospheres, or maybe one gym has really great leg machines that you love, so you always go there for leg day. That's another thing you can do. Yeah. But to answer your question, for me, I think you should look for a good atmosphere, a good supportive atmosphere, a serious atmosphere, and that's going to give you your best workouts no matter what. You'll have a better workout in that type of atmosphere, even if the equipment is not so great, versus a place that has amazing equipment where there is no atmosphere. Yeah. So I think atmosphere number one, equipment number two. But try a few places and see what works best for you.
I agree. All right. Thanks, E.
You got it.